EU market serves 450 million people. Trade surplus hits $200 billion yearly as the mother of all deals nears. Machinery, vehicles, chemicals, pharma. 27 countries, $20 trillion economy, 450 million population, 10 million Indians.
Right now, as we speak, something big is happening between India and Europe. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has just arrived in India along with European Council President Antonio Costa for a high-level state visit. They're here as chief guests for India's 77th Republic Day celebrations on the 26th of January and for crucial talks at the India-EU Summit on the 27th of January. This isn't just a ceremonial trip, it's happening at a moment when the long-awaited India-EU trade agreement, often called the mother of all deals, is closer than ever to reality. After nearly 2 decades of negotiations, sources say we could see major progress even a conclusion very soon, unlocking huge opportunities in trade, tariffs and jobs for both sides. So why does this matter so much? Well, let's get into it. Hello and welcome to another episode of Explained, brought to you by NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. The European Union isn't just another region, it's one of the world's biggest economic powerhouses and a key partner for India's growth story. Today, let's break down everything you need to know about the EU, its size, its economy, its trade with the world and especially India, and why this mother of all deals could change the game. How many countries are there in the European Union? Well, right now there are 27 member countries. That's after the UK left in Brexit. From big players like Germany, France and Italy to smaller ones like Malta, Cyprus and Estonia, these 27 nations work together as a single powerful union. Together, they have a total population of around 448 million people. That's roughly 1/3 the size of India's population, but larger than the US is 340 million or so. The EU's combined economy is massive. Its nominal GDP is estimated to be $222 to $23 trillion in recent 2026 figures, or even higher, around $30 trillion in purchasing power parity terms. That makes the European Union one of the top 3 economies globally, representing roughly 16 to 18% of world GDP, depending on whether you look at nominal or PPP measures, right behind the US and China, and well ahead of India, around 3 to 4% nominal. Higher in PPP due to population. It's the world's largest single market. Goods, services, people and capital move freely across borders with common rules, standards and a shared currency, the euro, in 20 of those 27 countries. Think of it as a giant integrated economic bloc, perfect for trade and investment. The EU's trade picture is indeed complex and fascinating, especially when we zoom in on its external relationships, which exclude trade amongst the 27 member states themselves. The bloc as a whole often maintains a trade surplus in goods overall, driven by its strengths in high-value manufactured products like machinery, vehicles, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, as well as luxury goods. Recent data shows monthly surpluses in the range of 8 to 18 billion euros, with an annual surplus frequently exceeding 150 billion euros in goods. However, this is offset by persistent deficits in energy imports, oil, gas, worsened by the Ukraine conflict, and diversification away from Russia and some raw materials. In services, the EU runs strong surpluses, particularly in financial, professional and tech sectors. The EU's biggest external trading partners have seen some shifts due to geopolitics, supply chain changes and post-COVID recovery, but the top ranks remain fairly stable based on the latest 2025 data. Let's talk about the top 5 external trading partners for the EU in recent years, which include total trade volume in goods, often combined with services. Figures approximate for 2025. First off comes the US, by far the largest, with total trade exceeding $739 billion in 2025. Some estimates put it around $700 to $800 billion range. The EU enjoys a significant surplus with the US in goods, especially machinery, vehicles and pharmaceuticals. Though services trade is more balanced, this partnership is boosted by strong transatlantic ties, shared standards and recent trade deals that have increased exports. China, a massive volume partner, often in the $500 to $600 billion range, historically, with 2025 figures showing continued high trade. China supplies electronics, machinery, parts, textiles, and consumer goods, while the EU exports cars, luxury items, and chemicals. Geopolitical tensions and EU efforts to reduce dependency have slightly tempered growth, but volumes remain huge. UK post-Brexit, the UK remains a very close second or third, with trade around $340 to $360 billion. Ties are deep due to history, geography, and the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. EU surpluses in goods, balanced services. It's still one of the most integrated non-EU relationships. Switzerland, strong and consistent, around $190 to $200 billion in trade. Switzerland, not in EU but in Schengen. EFTA is a key partner for pharmaceuticals, precision instruments, watches, and financial services. The EU typically runs a surplus here. Turkey, rising steadily into the top 5, around $120 to $150 billion, overtaking some others like Japan or Norway, depending on the year. Trade includes machinery, textiles, vehicles, and agriculture. Turkey benefits from customs union elements with the EU, leading to balanced but growing flows. Other frequent contenders in the top 10 include Norway, energy heavy, Japan, South Korea, India, which is climbing fast, often 9th to 11th, and Russia, which has sharply declined due to sanctions. Now, pivoting to India's place in this, the EU is already India's largest trading partner bloc, surpassing the US or China in combined goods trade for India in many recent years. Bilateral trade, goods plus services, hit around $136 to $140 billion in 24-25, with projections for continued growth. India exports roughly $76 billion in goods to the EU: pharma, textiles, garments, gems, jewelry, chemicals, engineering, goods, machinery, and leather, plus strong services like IT, BPO. In return, India imports machinery, equipment, chemicals, aircraft parts, vehicles, optical, medical instruments, and some luxury agri-products from the EU. The EU often has a surplus with India in goods, but India's services exports help balance things out. This dynamic makes the ongoing free trade agreement negotiations so critical. Reducing tariffs could supercharge Indian exports in textiles, pharma, and agri-processed goods, while giving EU firms better access to India's booming consumer market. This trade web shows why Ursula von der Leyen's visit and the push for the mother of all deals are timed perfectly. The EU wants diversified, reliable partners beyond China and energy volatile regions, and India fits that bill ideally. The EU is India's largest trading partner bloc overall, bigger than the US or China in combined goods trade for India in many years, and India is a top 10 partner for the EU. That's exactly why the mother of all deals is such a big deal. As Ursula von der Leyen visits India right now, the focus is on wrapping up this free trade agreement. It could slash tariffs on cars, wine, electronics, textiles, and more, opening doors for Indian exports while giving Europeans better access to our fast-growing market. Plus, talks cover defense, security, climate, and tech cooperation. Beyond trade, the EU is home to a thriving Indian diaspora. Estimates put over 1.5 to 2 million Indians settled there, including professionals, students, and families. The largest communities are in countries like Germany, the Netherlands, France, Italy, and Belgium. They contribute hugely in IT, healthcare, startups, and remittances back home. So in short, the EU is a 27-country giant with nearly 500 million people, a top-tier economy, massive trade clout, and deepening ties with India, especially as this historic visit unfolds and the FTA nears. As India and the EU forge stronger bonds, their partnership promises a brighter future for global trade and prosperity.
EU market serves 450 million people. Trade surplus hits $200 billion yearly as the mother of all deals nears. Machinery, vehicles, chemicals, pharma. 27 countries, $20 trillion economy, 450 million population, 10 million Indians.